a little background. Mitch and I, we talk pretty often, and we've maintained contact over the years. Even, I mean, we don't talk all the time, but when Mitch disappeared from social media, I don't know, I had a feeling like I wanted to respect his space because it was very surprising to me. And so during his little 4-month hiatus, I didn't really, I called you once and like you were on a run and we talked for maybe like 5 minutes, but I didn't get to ask you about your experience at the retreat. So just the other day on Saturday, it was just good timing. So I FaceTimed Mitch and I said, hey man, what's going on? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I just started asking him about the retreat. And, I started with like, how'd you hear about this? Where was it? What was, where'd you park? Who did someone greet you? Whatever, what did the place look like? And then Mitch basically said, Ryan, I'm going to stop you right here. We got to stop this conversation right now. It's like, what's going on? And he's just like, we got to have this conversation as a Zoom call so other people can listen to this conversation. So basically the way that I guess I'm just going to try and recreate or go down that path that we were going down on Saturday when I called you.
Totally.
So
I mean I stopped you dead in your tracks. So now
you stopped me dead in my tracks, dude.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'll just, I mean, I honestly, we were talking for like 5 or 10 minutes and you stopped me. So might as well just rewind a little bit and start from the beginning.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And so my first question to you is, where was this place? Wait, first, actually, should we go over what this retreat is, or? Okay, dude. I don't know if you guys have seen. I don't know.
Your first test.
The Sonoran desert toad, man. You smoke toad venom at a retreat at a hippie commune, which is totally batshit crazy.
Right.
So where the hell was it?
To answer your question, this was about an hour outside of Tucson. Don't need to get much more specific than that.
Right, secretive.
And yes, as you kind of had said, this was a retreat where you took medicine, and that medicine is called Bufo Alvarius, or the toad is called Bufo Alvarius, but the medicine is actually 5-MeO DMT, which comes from the gland right behind the eye of the Sonoran river toad. And so it's venom. It's not lethal to humans. It doesn't even affect humans unless you smoke it. And I mean, this toad it's cool because I'm from Tucson, right? It's native to Tucson.
And it only exists in the Tucson area, right?
They exist in the Sonoran Desert.
So down into Mexico too.
Yes, and it's the only. So what's cool about it is it's the only toad that it's called like biosynthesizing. It's the only toad that biosynthesizes 5-MeO DMT. And there's hundreds of poisonous toads, but this is the one that if you take their venom and you dry it, and it kind of crystallizes it, and you put it in a pipe and you smoke it.
Okay, wait.
It's the only one that has this effect.
Okay, dude. So biosynthesized, does that mean they make it? What does that mean?
It means the
naturally make it.
The toad naturally makes it.
Okay.
Yes. So this is the based on what I've read, this is the most potent naturally occurring psychoactive you can do.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I have heard about this before, you know, going to school in Tucson and then going back from time to time. I have a friend in Tucson who's a herpetologist, and he was in that Vice episode. There's a Vice did the Hamilton Morris, I think it is his name, Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. He's like a chemist. He's a really smart dude. He goes around the world trying the craziest psychedelics. He's a psychonaut, or I guess that's the term.
Yeah.
But he went to the Sonoran, he went to Tucson, and he went to the Sonoran region for this episode to learn about the toad. And my buddy, because he's a genius, like knows him and was just briefly in the episode to like try and help him find it or answer a couple questions about it. So I've heard of the toad before, and I've heard of this before, but only because my buddy in Tucson told me about it. So it was semi-familiar to me. To me, it's like, you know, apparently the trip is, you know, you can't even put it into words. I'm personally not interested in doing it. I think it's way too much for me to handle. But either way, I mean, I'm super fascinated, and I didn't even know you were doing it.
I didn't even know you were doing it.
You didn't know you were doing it.
I mean, I
no.
did.
How far before the retreat did you know you were gonna do it? Like a week, a month?
About 48 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, and a business partner, he's on this call. I don't know if he wants to be named or not, but if he wants to be named, he could shoot me a chat, either way. But he had done it a week before, and the way that he had found out about it is he's pretty tight with the Navy SEALs. Okay. Yeah, his name is Parker Young. Parker's on here. What up, Parker? Oh, he's under Stephanie's name, but yeah, his name is Parker. So he had done it a week before, the weekend before. And I was talking with him about it. He's
one of your Tucson buddies, yeah?
Yeah, Parker and I have known each other for a really long time. And he had done it the weekend before, and I was talking with him about it beforehand. He's done other plant-based, he's done plant-based medicine. This is not plant-based medicine. It's natural, but it's not plant-based. So he's done ayahuasca handful of times. So he's pretty experienced with this, and he was getting ready to do it. And I remember talking with him about it, and he was like, "This is the real deal. Like, this is the big stuff." Like, I think kind of getting a little bit of cold feet, and I was like, "Nah, bro, you're gonna do this thing, bro."
Dude, it makes me like, it gives me nervousness, like nervous laughter just thinking about it, dude. And you're rocking back and forth like a maniac right now, just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's crazy, man. But okay, so you heard about it from Parker.
I heard about it from Parker, and so when Parker
he did the week before, and he just said, "Hey, you got to do this," and you were like,
I was questioning the shit out of him because I was already really intrigued, and then basically I was questioning about him, and he was telling me about it, and I was like, "This is really resonating with me. Like, I want to do this," and I was like, "Can you ask them, the people that he just did it with, like if they have a spot for one more?" He quickly did. They got back to me, "Hey, they got room." And so I literally just packed up my shit and went like 24 hours later.
Did you go with him?
I didn't go with him. No, he had already gone. So yeah, I just drove out there.
Oh, he asked if they had room in the next session.
Yeah, he asked if they had room, and I just packed up my sleeping gear. You know, I packed up a couple of blankets, a couple of pillows, a bath towel, my Dob kit, and
what did you wear?
What did I wear? I wore the same thing like every day. So this was 4 days long. It was 3 nights and 4 days, and I pretty much just had my shirt off the entire time I was there. I had no shoes on the entire time I was there, and I was
No, no,
just
no. I know you didn't walk into this hippie camp with your shirt off. So what were you wearing, dude?
I was wearing just normal, light, breathable clothing because it was out in the desert, and this was in
Okay.
September, so it was warmer
Still
during
pretty hot.
warmer during the day, cooler at night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you rolled up on was it like a Friday or something?
This was a Thursday. Thursday evening
This
is
was
when
a
we got
Thursday.
there before sunset.
Right. So had you been in contact with them before and they said, "Hey, here's how you get here?" Or did Parker just handle it for you and you just drove up and walked in and was like, "Hey, I'm Mitch, I'm Parker's friend."
Basically, Parker had connected me with someone there who was a facilitator, and through him, I got the address. I sent him the money over. Sent them, the money over. It was either Venmo or PayPal. And yeah, the address was pretty much it. Then there was a small list of supplies that I had that he had given me. I really didn't know anything besides that. Like I knew very little. And I just knew this was going to be a massive solo journey. And that's what it was. So, you take one dirt road and then another dirt road and then another dirt road. And then you pull up to this place and you see a sign of what this place is. And you're driving through this place and you're like, where the hell am I? And there's like abandoned homes and tents and like boats in the middle of the desert that all just look abandoned. But you also know that people are kind of sprouted throughout their living there too. And
how big is it? Like a football field? Is it like 10 football fields?
It's completely open. So you just kind of see these meandering dirt roads and you're like, oh, there's a little etched in sign in the wood. Oh, I'm going to take a right here because that feels right. That feels good here. So yeah, you just kind of, you're already honing in on your intuition quite strongly.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Looking for indicators, man. Looking for the universe just leaving you little breadcrumbs for you to find your way in.
That's right.
That's crazy. Okay, so you pull in. Is there even a parking lot? Or there's got to be a parking lot, right?
It's kind of a little dirt area. You arrive at a dome. It's a dome. You're like, there must be people around this dome.
Okay.
That are around here, and you I just pulled up my car there, got out of my car, didn't see anyone, walked until I found someone, introduced myself and said, I'm friends with Parker. He was here last weekend. What I'm ready. I'm ready. Where do I go? What do we do?
Where do I go?
Yeah.
And so they pointed you towards where you were gonna sleep, or they point you towards where everybody else was, or
there were people that had congregated underneath like the kitchen tent area essentially. Okay. So I go in there and there's other people there and everyone's pretty nervous and it's okay. You just kind of breathe it in. It's okay.
And you just walk in there. Hey, I'm Mitch.
Yeah. And
let's get.
You strike up a conversation. Hey, have you done this before? Hey, how are you feeling? Are you nervous? All of these kind of typical thoughts that would go through your head. And I would say that what I was focused on was just being comfortable. Just being comfortable. Even though I didn't know everything, I didn't know the people there. I didn't necessarily have trust in them. There was obviously a commonality between all of us that we were all there. So whether they were from Michigan, Texas, California, New York, we were all there for a reason. So that was the commonality, and that says a lot, even without saying one word to anyone, and that's pretty special.
True. So you guys, they made you dinner then the first night?
So one of the coolest things about this experience was the food that we got to eat.
Mm-hmm.
It was gourmet vegan food by a couple that had come in from Santa Fe, New Mexico, just just the week before, and they made the most delicious vegan food. I couldn't believe how good it was, and it just cleaned my entire what it felt like my entire digestive tract in 24 hours. I was having the best stools of my life within 24 hours. And so yes, we had food. It was delicious. I have some pictures of it. I'll show it. I'll show them later. I'll share my screen and show it. And so yeah, that was a very comforting thing, I must say. The fact that
So you were, well, we can touch on this later, but you hadn't started eating vegan before this retreat, did you?
that's correct.
So like maybe that earlier that day was the last time you ate meat.
That's correct.
Okay. So
Yeah.
instantly you felt different.
Instantly I said, wow, yeah, there's something special with, first of all, eating this way. And this was before doing any medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, they really did work well together. The medicine and the eating, it was all very, comprehensive. It was all,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt that way. And so, yeah, the food was incredible for that reason, just on its own, just to be able to experience that.
I believe it, man. I maybe several people here know Lauren Nagy, but she would always make me delicious vegan meals, and you feel good, man. I mean, I love meat. I don't see myself giving it up, but she made delicious food, man, and it does feel good. You can't lie. She would like make her own little sauces in her magic bullet, like peanut sauces and whatnot, and just throw it on everything. So it's like it didn't even really matter what you were eating because the sauce was so good.
Exactly. So they were making like the bombest like gazpachos and soups and teas and things that like I could never even conceive of. I could never make them myself, but they were so delicious. It was like literally some of the best food I have ever had, and I love eating meat. Like
Right.
my mind was blown just from that alone. I was like, these people are onto something good here. Like
Yeah. And if they're from Santa Fe, it was probably Southwest style too. Yeah.
it was, yeah.
Santa Fe is sick.
It was great.
Okay, so you had a great meal your first night. You're just chit chatting, trying to make friends with people. I mean, did you like hang around the dinner table and like talk? Was anybody drinking alcohol?
No alcohol. So what ended up happening was like after we conversed and kind of got to know each other, the shamans came in. So there were shamans there. These are professional spiritual healers, and I think it's easy to.
Was there one or multiple?
There were two of them, and there were a couple of facilitators, is what I would.
They
call
didn't eat with you?
No, they ate. They ate, but they came.
Did you know they were the shamans when they were eating with you or no?
Yes, I knew. But at that point, they were just having conversation with us. They weren't like fully introduced. Once we kind of had the food in front of us and we're eating, they said, here's the formal welcome. It's glad to have you here. Like, this is going to be the realest thing, you've ever done. And there's ups, there's downs. There's no judgment. It's okay. We're all here to do this together. And it was comforting. But of course, you're looking at these people, and you're like,
dude, I'm picturing like an older lady with like what are those things called? Dreamcatcher earrings and dreads, right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
It was two men, and they were actually flown in from Australia. So
For the retreat, or they live there now?
they're from Australia, but they kind of went on a circuit around the U.S. and in Mexico. So they were flown in from Australia, and to give you a background of like what like half of the people at the retreat, there was like 15 of us there. Half of them were veterans. So, and the facilitators were veterans as well. So there was a heavy emphasis on veterans who had PTSD and who really wanted to kind of cleanse themselves of a pretty hard life.
So most of the people there had done it before.
No, most of them had not done it before.
Okay.
Half of them were veterans, and they had some sort of PTSD, and they had lost a lot of friends. They had just hard lives, man. And the facilitators were also veterans, so that was kind of the bonding. That was the conduit there. It's like these veterans were coming in, kind of these 200 pound veterans that were coming to get healed, and they were going to get healed through the medicine and the shamans, and in between them was these facilitators who were also veterans, and they're there just to make sure that everyone's good. If they need any kind of physical help, if they need commonality.
Sorry, when you say veterans, you mean ex-military? Were there also veteran? I thought you for a sec. I thought maybe you meant veterans, people who have done the drug or taken the medicine before.
There were a couple of people who had done the medicine before.
Okay, gotcha.
Just a few.
Okay, I mean that's awesome, man. Whatever works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome.
These are people that have tried plenty of other things.
Yeah, no
these are
surprise,
people that have been on their prescriptions, that have seen their doctors. They've done it all. They're here for the real deal. They're here for, we're not fucking around.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the
probably sick of trying antidepressants and shit like that.
Absolutely. They're here to do the most potent psychedelic that you can do.
Can't blame them, man. Really can't blame them.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of just making friends, chatting over the dinner table, and then you didn't trip that night, right? You just kind of all at a decent hour. I mean, how late did you stay up? Were you guys like, it's 9 or 10, everybody should go try and get some good rest? Or did you guys just, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to, I can't picture them like saying, okay, everybody back to your bunks, like get some sleep. I can't imagine that they gave you structure like that. Did they?
Kind of like, we wrapped up dinner. Everyone gave an intro. They said why they were there or what they wanted to kind of get out of it. And after that was done, we were assigned into groups because each group would be going the next day. Like you have your own, what they call like a hero's journey, where you just do it with your group. And then after that, it was good night. Go find a place to crash. Some people had trailers that they had rented. Other people were in the dome. I was in the dome. And you just go make your bed. And yeah, we probably went to bed by 10:30ish.
Okay. Had you felt made any buddies at that point? Or maybe with like the people in your group, did you buddy up with them and like kind of try and make a connection with them specifically? Or
yes, there was some of that, but at the same time, it's like all anyone can really think about is like
their own personal deal.
They're just like thinking about tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So sunrise was when we were gonna go on our first journey together, which means we were gonna take the medicine together.
So you and your group of a couple people.
No, first we did a group with everyone, and then after that we would go off and do the individual groups.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we started the next morning, the group of everyone.
So you how'd you sleep?
I slept well, man. I was good. I was just focused and I knew I was there, and I just kept my breath under control and was in tune, and sleeping was not an issue.
That's really lucky. I wouldn't have been able to sleep a second. So how'd you wake up? Did a little chicken wander in and start pecking at your face?
Yeah, basically you hear chickens going, you hear coyotes in the night, like you're absolutely out there. You hear all the desert creatures going. You wake up with the sun at 6 a.m. it was, and you know it's go time. When the sun is up and you feel it, you just, you know, it's go time. All right.
That's funny. I was kind of joking, but
Did Ryan just pause? Later, Ryan. Yeah. Okay. Let me call in the second interviewer. Yes, this is so cool.
Is it time?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I don't think it'll work.
Too much echo.
Oh, can you just talk to me here? This is Sam. Sam's my roommate.
Rise back.
yo, sorry.
Where are you?
Can you see me?
Yeah. Hold on.
Wi-Fi.
Let me bring you up. Change your
Am I sideways?
yeah, you're sideways.
Shit. All right, hang on.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, how's that?
You're good. Perfect.
Solid, dude. Of course, the day we do this, we're like installing a new router in my house. Just perfect timing, right?
It's all good.
Yeah. Okay, so you wake up at sunrise. Sorry. And did you eat first? Or did you just go straight to it?
No, he's avoiding. No,
What?
nothing. No, I didn't eat first. No.
Okay, so
You're
So where'd
avoiding.
you go? Where'd you go?
I didn't go anywhere. It was good. We were starting at sunrise
In the dome?
in the dome.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
I woke up in the dome. I had about an hour. We all gathered around the dome at a specific time, like let's say it was 8 o'clock. And we knew that it was go time.
Mhm.
And we all gathered around. We made a big circle. And the
Okay.
shamans told us, they brought out these pipes, which is what you use to smoke it. There's these wooden pipes with a little glass, like a little glass piece that the medicine is in, and the medicine just looks like this crystallized little flaky medicine, which is the dried up toad venom.
Mhm.
And, they kind of calibrate the doses for everyone. They give
Had
you
they done that before? Did they do that in front of you?
They did it in front of us, and they give you what's called like a handshake dose, as it's implied, like it's just a handshake. It's just a kind of get to know you, get comfortable with the medicine type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they hand each person. So there's 15 of us in a circle with all
Are you
these
standing?
with all these pillows and rugs. No, we're all sitting, all comfortable.
Okay.
All these pillows and rugs everywhere, and we're all just getting comfortable. Then they bring you this. They bring you the. They bring you the piece.
Pass the peace pipe.
Yeah, they bring you the pipe, and they basically ask you if they're allowed to serve you medicine.
Mm-hmm.
They say
So
may I,
so they're holding it in front of your mouth and lighting it for you?
they hold it in front of your mouth, and they kind of instruct you how to do it so that you get a good hit. And yeah, at that point it was everything coming down to that couple of seconds basically between seeing the pipe in front of you with the medicine in it, and
Mm.
before you take it. And it's not to scare anyone from doing the medicine, but yeah, like you just feel it. You just know you're seconds away from doing the inconceivable.
So who went first? Somebody who had done it before?
Nah, they just did it randomly. It
What
was
do you
just,
think? Where do
every
you
four,
think? How many people did it before you?
maybe one.
Oh, so it wasn't like one for the whole circle.
No. Each person gets their own pipe, and like they do it every 4 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like, every
So multiple handshake trips are happening at once.
That's right.
Ah, interesting.
We're all
Okay.
we're all journeying together.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that would have been kind of intense if it was everybody just looking at one person doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that gives me anxiety.
I mean, there's some people who have wandering eyes.
Yeah.
I get that's natural. I was extremely focused.
You didn't care.
I was locked in. I was already.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was.
You were like, okay, look, if you want, I don't care.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Complete vulnerability. I mean, you have
Yeah.
to. You have to let go of.
So the handshake hit, how big of a hit was it? Because in the documentary, it shows them like inhaling for 10 seconds or trying to inhale for 10 seconds and then hold for 10 seconds. Or was it kind of like just ripping weed or something?
Yeah. So what you do is they start lighting it. They have a lighter, and it's not like a regular lighter. It's like it's like a mini Bunsen burner or whatever. It's like a little torch type of thing.
Torch.
Yeah. And so they start lighting it. You see the smoke fill the chamber, and they instruct you to breathe out.
Yeah. Okay.
You breathe out, and then you put your lips up to it, and you breathe in slow and controlled, as slow and controlled as you can breathe in, and you let all the smoke in as long as possible, and you bring the smoke through your throat, and you're holding your breath this entire time, and you bring the smoke down to your heart, and you hold your breath for as long as you can, and usually by the time it kind of reaches your heart or in your chest, you've kind of maxed out your breath hold. And once it hits your heart and once it hits your chest, you exhale, and then your journey begins.
That's a really slow draw, huh?
A really slow and controlled and smooth, beautiful draw.
Gorgeous.
It's very gorgeous, and I took the biggest hits that I possibly could.
On your first one?
On everyone. Why? Because we're there for a reason. We're there for the medicine, right?
It's true.
We're there to feel the effects of the medicine, to be the medicine, to allow the medicine to work as well as it possibly can. That's why I was there. So yes, we're taking the biggest hits, the smoothest, most controlled, most surrendered hits that we can possibly take.
Okay. So while you're drawing the smoke in, and you feel it come to your heart and your chest, you hold it for as long as you can, and then you breathe out. Blow it out. Did a bunch of smoke come out, or were you already in La La Land?
Not much smoke came out, and yes, by the time you're breathing out, you're already on your way.
Okay, so we're about to get into it.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Do you have a vivid memory of it? The first one, at least.
Somewhat.
Okay. Parker says finally.
Yeah.
How boring. Dude, how boring are we?
God, I
I'm
know.
sorry,
Right?
man.
You're really drawing it out.
Well, I'm trying to picture this whole thing, dude. I'm curious.
I know you're doing great. If
Okay.
Parker says you're doing great, you're doing great.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so you remember the trip? I mean, did the world start spinning? Did you feel your soul leave your body? Can you run me through it? I mean, I should probably just stop guessing what happened and let you tell, right?
Yeah. So we know this. We know that words are going to do. They're not going to do it justice. We know this, right? This is something that absolutely has to be experienced to even remotely understand that feeling. And even when you experience it, you are still at a total loss for words. You don't really understand. You can try to explain it. So I'll try to do that. So what I would describe it as is your soul is returning home, is the way I would describe it. You feel as though your soul is returning home. Like you feel like everything that makes you what you know to be you dissolve, and all that's left is the underneath, the core, the deepest part of your being, your soul. And that's what's left. And
What are you seeing visually?
visually, it's called a whiteout. You go completely blank, but at the same time, it's a very profound, what seems to be a very profound chemical reaction. Very profound chemical reaction within your brain. That you're almost inside your brain witnessing the chemical reaction that's happening within it. You're almost in the center of your brain, feeling as though, yeah, you're in your brain. And there's chemical reactions, almost like neurons firing everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I would describe it visually, as something that we could, kind of relate to.
So you're seeing what? So first you see white, but then you kind of see like you see like poofs and puffs and sparks and zips and zaps.
Yeah, like you're in this chemical soup that's just, chain reaction. That's what's happening, and you're in there, and as soon as you start even noticing that this is happening, you have an option. You can either wake yourself up and say, what's happening? Or you can continue to surrender and let it continue to play out and play out and play out and play out.
Wow. So you're conscious enough to know what's going on. You feel like you're there. It's not out of control, or
you
could wake yourself up and snap out of it.
Well, think about it. If you truly wanted to, you can interrupt it. You can short circuit the medicine. You can throw up barriers and walls and entry point. Like you can make it so the medicine is not abundant within you. Like you don't have to be a hollow bone. The medicine isn't just going to do that. It is coming down to your mind. Medicine is being released in your pineal gland. It's dumping 5-MeO DMT. You can, if you want to, and although it's very, very difficult to, because the medicine is extremely strong, but let's say you don't take a big hit. Let's say you're just investigating. Let's say you're just curious, right? When that 5-MeO DMT dumps, you can prevent it from going further. you can wake yourself up and say, you'll still be influenced, you'll still be on the medicine, but you can make it so that that medicine isn't working as strongly. You can do that, especially if you take a smaller hit. Now, if you take a fully surrendered hit and you've already told yourself, I'm in this, I'm not going to throw up a single boundary. I'm going to let the medicine have its way with me. I'm going to be completely surrendered. Then yeah, you're on that. That's your journey. That's what's going to happen.
So if you fully surrender to a huge hit and you let it take you wherever it does, how long does that last?
I'd say anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes.
Oh my God.
But think of it like taking a hit of pot. Like you can take a smaller investigative hit where you just want to become familiar, maybe you get a little light show, things of that nature. And you can realize that the medicine is working with you, but you can also snap out of it to a certain degree. And you can say, well, okay, I got a taste, that was good. But if you take the biggest hit of pot that you can out of a bong, for instance, because you're doing it because there's no going back, you're not going to be able to snap out of that hit. So it's like any other type of, medicine in that regard.
So because in the documentaries or the videos I've seen, whatever, the Vice documentary, some people just kind of lean back and close their eyes, or their eyes roll back, and they just are kind of like, it seems like a lot of people are kind of repeating some sort of comforting phrase or some sort of like prayer or whatever. But other people, like one guy starts, he looks like he's having a seizure. Like he's like screaming and puking even. He's like rolling around in the stream, puking and screaming, like it looked like an exorcism.
Yeah, they can look like live exorcisms.
Do you get to decide what you're doing during the trip?
You do not get to decide. Actually, to some degree, maybe you do get to decide. If you're going to surrender to it and be a peaceful Buddha and let the medicine have its way with you, you have set your intention before doing the medicine or doing the medicine that way. If you are going into it very tight, very controlled, maybe afraid, naturally, this medicine is going to be bumping up against things. It's not going to be, you want to be a hollow bone. You want to be a hollow bone. Thank you, Parker. Yeah. So
okay. So you kind of, it sounds like it kind of depends on what headspace you're in when you go into it.
Yes, but to what Parker just said, you are entering a black box every time. You are entering a black box every time. However, I still think that if your mindset does have something to do with it.
So your first hit, do you remember what you were physically doing? Were you more of a lie down and close your eyes guy, or were you I would picture you having a seizure and flopping around all over the place like a fish out of water.
Like a fish.
That's just obviously seems more, to me, that seems more you to be like a fish out of water.
Yeah, I made sure that I was very comfortable, laid back, my head on a pillow, and my arms, my head up like this, my arms by my side, just lying like a plank. And yeah, do you have some convulsions? Absolutely. Like, did I feel it kind of come up my neck and in my jaw and start pulling me in really, interesting ways? Yes. Did I feel it? I felt it very heavily in my stomach, in my belly, my breathing. So you can react to the medicine in different ways. Like some people do it through breathing. Some people do it through yelling, through chanting. Some people do it through rolling around, running around, screaming. Like they're
Running around.
Yeah, running around, infinite variety. And
God.
and what someone just asked a question, was there any purging? There's definitely purging. Yeah.
You shit your pants.
I actually didn't really purge very much. But there is certainly purging, and other people were purging. There is vomiting, but it's okay. It's okay to vomit, obviously. Ooh, the biggest takeaway from the experience.
What does he? Do you think he means the first hit or the
No, no,
experience as a whole?
in general, the biggest takeaway from the experience is that I would say that it's that it's possible to perceive like what we would consider to be God. Like God becomes perceivable. God becomes experienceable. And that's very beautiful. And that's very, very special. And you don't have to be like there's no reason why everyone's not worthy of that experience. And again, we can't really describe what it's like to feel one, with something eternal. Or
So it wasn't super visual in that sense. Like,
it was extremely visual, but the visuals are just too hard to describe. It's just they're multi-dimensional. You're completely your soup, your chemical soup. You feel like you're on the surface of the sun. You feel like you took a rocket ship to the surface of the sun. It comes out of your body when you break through. You're going through a portal at light speed. You feel like you're on a rocket ship, and you feel like you're visiting the surface of the sun, which just means it's a infinite mess of chemicals. That's what it feels like.
wow.
So, it's after that first hit, you're like, what was that? But then you're also, for me, I was ready for more. I had another hit right after.
Oh, right after.
Right after. And then I took, then we did our hero's journey, which they give you enough dosage. They give you enough of the medicine to push you through if you've kind of been showing some friction.
Resistant.
Yeah. Resistance, which was really the most beautiful thing, because I'd already taken one hit and another hit, and then it was like, okay, time for the hero's journey. And I was the first person to do the hero's journey out of the group, because I just was all in on it. I wanted to be first. So
your first couple hits were good.
Yeah, I would say 95% of my hits and my experiences were absolute bliss, complete profoundness, ecstasy, light, just pure radiating, beautiful light, immense love. It's just incredible. Your entire body, your entire heart opens up in a way that you just can't even possibly imagine. It's unfathomable to imagine. You are it is your soul's journey back home. You experience where your soul, the essence of your soul before it even came to your body, is what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see some of these questions.
Yeah. Get to some questions, because
did you come home feeling like this, or did it take time for you to reflect on this process? In between each journey. So I did 15 journeys. That means 15 hits over the course of 4 days. Okay. In between each one, you are just trying to make sense of the last one. And you just really can't until at the end of the retreat, you have this time called integration. And the purpose of integration is to talk with the shamans. It's to talk with other people at the retreat. And it's for you guys to share how you're feeling, what your thoughts are, what are your reflections. And it is truly, for me at least, it was only until then that I really started to get a better understanding of things, because you're listening to other people describe the same experience that you describe, or that you experienced, and that's how you really make sense of it. It's a learning, it's an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to teach. And as you're teaching other people and sharing with other people, you are also learning it. So that is where everything kind of catalyzed, is the integration at the end, where you share everything. And so the effects that I just described were immediate, I would say. They were immediately onset after that first journey, after the second journey, after every journey. It was just more and more and more of that, just bursting your heart open with pure love, pure light, just bursting it open, uncontrollable, unfathomable. But even when I came back, I was just in a state of pure Zen. I mean, I could barely even speak, because it just took too much energy to speak, would have taken myself out of my presence. Like, you don't need to do anything, because you're an infinite presence. You don't need to do anything else. Nothing else matters when you're in that state.
You said 95% of your trips were pleasant or bliss.
Yes.
What were the other 5%?
This is a good one. This is good. So one of them, I was coming back to my conscious state. It had probably been about 30 minutes. And I felt so incredible. I felt like I had had a full body orgasm, full on. And I was very confused by this experience, by this feeling. And so I was feeling myself, and I felt my penis in my pants. I started touching my crotch, because I wanted to see if I had an erection. And I was feeling myself, and I couldn't really feel well enough, because I was still pretty out of it, but my pants were soaking wet. And I was like, half in, half out of it still. My pants are wet. And I looked across the group, and I saw someone who was having a difficult weekend. She had some stuff that she was working through, and she had some trust issues. And she was looking at one of the shamans, and she was yelling at the shaman, saying, "I don't trust you. I don't trust you."
Oh no.
And I had connected with her. So this is someone that I had befriended, and I'm looking at her, yelling at the shaman, saying, "I don't trust you. I don't trust you." And I just felt this heaviness come over me, this darkness. Her energy was dark. Her energy was so dark.
Dude, no kidding. That would throw anyone off if they saw that.
And I felt her darkness, because I had really bonded with her. And so people's energy affects each other, but it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. I kind of undertook some of her darkness, and
it's hard to ignore that.
Exactly. And it veiled over me. And when that darkness veiled over me, I looked at the shaman, and I thought to myself, why do I feel like I just had an orgasm? Why are my pants soaking wet? And why does the wetness feel like jizz? Why does it feel like semen? Did I just get raped?
Oh.
Did I just get drugged and raped? And it was extremely dark.
Oh no.
Uh-huh. And I just breathed. I just tried to let my breath.
Did you ask him that?
It was dark. No, I was still coming out of it. I was not coherent enough yet to fully.
Oh.
These were.
You were
thoughts.
just thinking that.
Yes, these were thoughts that were coming in my head.
Oh no.
They were very dark. This was my very dark. This was my dark moment. And I just continued to breathe, because I knew that's all I could do at that point. I could just continue to surrender into the medicine more, let it pass, whatever this was, pass. If it was true, just let it unveil itself. And after thinking on it and breathing on it for a couple more minutes, I convinced myself, I let myself realize that no, they did not just rape me in front of a group of 15 other people, although it seemed why else do I feel like I have semen in my pants, and why else do I feel like I have an orgasm? Why? And so I let those thoughts kind of come over me, let them go.
Did you have semen all over you?
Once I came to the realization that, okay, once I came to the belief, no, that I was not raped. I went up to the shamans and I hugged them because I thought that I had an orgasm. I had an orgasm from just sitting there being so in a pure state of bliss and ecstasy that if I wasn't raped and my pants are soaking wet and I felt it and it had the viscosity, it was all there. So then I thanked them. And then a couple of minutes after thanking them, I went back and let my breathing come to me even more. And I tried to think back, like in my journey 20 minutes ago now, I was like thinking back 20 minutes. What happened 20 minutes ago? Like, is there anything you can recall? And I could very faintly recall myself sitting cross-legged with my head down like this, drooling all over myself. So I had drooled all over my crotch, soaking wet, and it had the same viscosity as semen.
That's you have so much experience drooling all over yourself. You've only done it 180 times already in your life. Oh my God, man, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh. So that was my only. And then after that, I told the shamans that, I told everyone that. It was full vulnerability. I was like, guys, I drooled all over myself. I thought it was semen. I thought I came. I thought it was an orgasm. And after that, it was just like, Mitch, we want to thank you for coming. Like, that was the inside joke. But that was the only dark time, right?
Did you tell them that you thought you ejaculated, or did you tell them that you thought you were raped?
No, I told them that I thought I had ejaculated.
Okay, yeah. It's probably safer play.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was incredible. That was darkness. It went from being very light and very bright light, very happy, feeling of orgasm and ecstasy, to darkness, back to ecstasy. And that was okay.
Do you feel like it showed you your past or your future?
Yes. It basically told me that everything that all of the weird shit that I've done, all of the way I perceive the world, all of the thoughts that I have about being connected are fine and dandy and perfect and well. All of the weird fascinations I have about, have with nature and butterflies and caterpillars and everything, it's all perfect. It's all great. And that was beautiful to get that validation.
That's good, man.
Very beautiful to get that validation.
That's really good. I can't see the question, so you can.
So how much did it cost? It cost $520.
That's cheap.
They did not do it for profit. They do it because they are healers.
That is so cheap.
It's very cheap for.
Do they do it because that's the area code in Tucson?
What do you mean? Because that's the area code? Oh no. Oh, maybe. I don't know. It's a good question. That's a good question. So no, these are very, very beautiful, beautiful people. Very nice people. They're healers. Yes, they need to get paid, but for the amount of work that they did and the food that we were fed, it was very affordable. How long did the effects last? 20 minutes to 45 minutes. Were there stages of the experience? Come up, peak, come down. Yeah, you start with a full-blown whiteout where you're on a rocket ship to the surface of the sun. And as the medicine wears off a little bit, you start to gain some consciousness back. And then you have your own kind of phase when you're conscious. You're like, it's a semi-conscious state, I suppose. And then it just kind of wears off a little bit. And so you can ride that semi-conscious state as well. Did I feel the same thing with each hit? I would say for the most part, yes. Although it is a black box, I did pretty much experience the same thing. And I would say that each hit kind of established what I thought at the time of as a new baseline. So it was kind of building on itself. But since I was writing a very positive, blissful state time after time, it felt like pure ascension. It felt absolutely incredible. Once you get the message, do you hang up the phone, or are you encouraged to do this repeatedly? Yeah, this is an interesting question. I would say that there are some people there who don't break through. It's called breaking through. Like they don't necessarily. Maybe they were controlling. Maybe they didn't have enough. Maybe they didn't take the right dosage. So I would say, yeah, it's not guaranteed that everyone breaks through. I would say that surrendering is a great way to ensure that you break through. And once you get the message, once you break through and you get the message, for me personally, I have no inclination to go back and do it anytime soon, because I've doubled down on everything that has happened. When the awakening happened, I chose to continue to teach myself more and more about it, to really not just it's just an experience. So like the long lasting effects, hard to say. You need to still continue to do work. You need to put in the effort. That experience will come and go. And if you go back to regular life with nothing changed, yes, you could easily find yourself saying, I want to go do that again, because you forgot about the experience. The experience faded over time. For me, I have chosen to not let that, even though I will forget about some of this experience, there are now so many other things in my life that I'm choosing to do to keep my level of resonance, keep my vibration high, keep my frequency high. So I think it all depends on you. It all depends on the person. Do you go back to your old habits, or do you create new habits? Do you do new things that that would make it so you don't necessarily need to go back? I don't feel like I do need to go back.
So you weren't meditating before this, were you?
I was not meditating.
So meditating, would you say that's the big thing that you decided to start doing regularly to kind of keep it going?
There was a lot of behaviors. I cut all judgment out. I haven't judged anyone since. And it's not to say that I was an asshole before, but judging was easy. I would go on Instagram, first picture I see, I could probably judge it, right? And that was a big thing. I just cut all judgment out, because I feel so connected that if you're going to judge someone else, you're literally judging yourself. It is a mirror. Mm-hmm. It's that level of connectivity. Meditation, my diet, yeah. All of these things, very, very big changes.
Huge changes. So that's what I was gonna kind of go next, which is kind of like the big question, or at least I'm sure everyone wants to know. Lauren just submitted it, but it seems like you're very different now than you were before. So Lauren's question was, why did you want to do this? I think that was her question, but essentially, why did you decide to do this? I mean, you seemed like a really happy dude who was like pretty, I mean, were you unhappy? What made you want to do it? Did you
Yeah.
feel like something was wrong?
In a way, I felt not that something was wrong, but something was missing. And Chrisman also had this question. Um, the mindset and the purpose and the intention of going is that uh, I didn't just decide to go. I decided to go 48 hours before, but I feel like I had a lifetime of calling before that. And so that's why the decision was made so quickly, because the opportunity presented itself on the doorstep. I needed not to think twice about it. I could just do it because that decision was already there. The decision was made. It was already made internally. It was just waiting for the opportunity. And so what I felt like was missing was I've always felt like I am very connected. I've always felt connected to the simplest of things because I find some inherent values and some of my being is there. Even when I look at a little bug or whatever, a little animal, I have a lot of trust in that and I feel a connection there. And so this is something that I've always felt, and I have had no means to really push it through really far, really to come
to like kind of validate it.
Yeah, to validate it. And so I've been, walking around. I may be crazy Mitch on social media, showing my dick and everything like that and going crazy, but there's a whole other side of me, which is maybe easily inferable, but maybe not. I don't know. But there's that whole other side, which is like, there is absolutely something more to my being, to our being, to our existence. And I've always brushed up against that. I've always felt that. I've always been wondering about that. It's always been bubbling up in my experience, in my reality. And for me, that is exactly why I went to this, because I didn't have a problem. It was something more that was missing. And I wanted to be with that. I wanted to become that feeling that has always been pressing up against me, always been bubbling up, always been tapping, right? Tapping on my shoulder. It's in my soul, it's in my head, it's me, it's my being. And in this seemed exactly to be that. And this is something that I've wanted for a very, very long time. And I never knew how it was ever going to happen. Never. And so I did, in some sense, feel trapped. When is this thing going to happen where I can truly experience all that I've ever wanted to experience? When was this going to happen? And it was always mystical. It was always mysterious. It was always spiritual related. But I was not really a spiritual person. I just felt it. I didn't even know that it was spirit. I couldn't even call it spirit. I didn't know, but it was very much so inside and very much so embedded. And so when the opportunity came, it was a total beacon. It was a lighthouse, and it was on my doorstep. And so I knew, no questions asked. Stop everything you're doing and go. And that's exactly what happened. Do you feel like you will need to remedicate at some point, or are you eternally set? This is interesting. I believe that what I've been doing, I've been in a very rigorous meditation schedule. So I've gotten a lot from that. Like I said, this is an experience that happened. You don't just come back to reality and actualize it. You can awaken from the experience, but that experience comes and goes. To become self-realized after the fact, or to actualize, or to change who you really are, your perception of yourself, or your being, or your identity, all of that work comes after. All of that learning comes after the fact, at least for me, it has. And so that's what I would say the real work is. I would say that doing this medicine is a shortcut. I would say it's not required.
That was one of my questions I had for you. I have a few questions, but because I saw you mentioned it, it's like taking the shortcut to this kind of like realization. So my question was, why'd you take the shortcut?
I took the shortcut because I felt like something was missing, and this seemed to be the exact answer to that missingness. And I had gone since I was in middle school, practically. Not like it was always like there was this voice in my head that was always wanting to know every day. But no, over a long period of time, there were plenty of times, plenty of kind of that presence of, you know, are you gonna, you feel this way.
Yeah.
This way.
You've probably eaten hundreds of beetles and played with hundreds of snakes and stuff.
Exactly.
That's interesting. Do you feel like those times where you, like maybe in the moment you did it for a laugh, which is all good because laughing is great, but do you feel like in those moments, like where you would eat a beetle to, you know, for the laughs, but do you think maybe looking back, like, oh, maybe I was actually like, maybe there was something to that. Maybe there was something more than just trying to get a laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole other counterbalance side of the craziness.
Yeah.
Is like handling a rattlesnake is not just handling a rattlesnake. It's like, I'm going to have trust with this animal because there's more between us than just you snake, me Mitch. And it's honing in on that. That's the beauty there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
Let me see. So there's another question. Is there a place to separate yourself if others are having a bad trip or bringing in negative energy? Or you just sit there, go back into your own space and try to tune it out?
That's a good question.
It's pretty open. So yeah, people who were maybe going through more difficult things and wanted to be alone could absolutely be alone. You just leave the dome and you could go walk somewhere. You could go rest somewhere, and then there's shamans there to help you as well. And so yeah, that's okay. And of course, there's no judgment. Everyone has their own things to work through. This is why everyone's there. Everyone's there for that reason. And there's a lot of love there. There's a whole lot more love than there is darkness. And especially with the group there and the shamans, if you're not having a good time, if you're having a rough time, there's plenty of love there to go around. And it really is an absolutely beautiful experience. How has it affected
you got a couple questions? I need to go to the bathroom.
Okay. How has it affected interpersonal relationships and business lifestyle? This is interesting. Let's see. It's changed them quite a lot. First of all, just on the kind of surface level, like I said, like I've cut all judgment out. So when I step into a situation, when I step into maybe a point of friction between me and someone else, I'm coming at it with a different perception. I'm coming at it with a perception of heavy connectedness, heavy oneness, which naturally allows you to kind of breathe into the situation more easily and choose your words more wisely. And so that presence and holding that perspective absolutely helps that. Okay, my professional life has been focused largely on technology. Have your views on technology changed since this experience? Yeah, that's another great question. I think that technology is agnostic, and it is totally up to the intention of the creators of that technology. And so what I would say now is I'm still very much so interested in technology. However, I would like to infuse whatever technology I build or I'm a part of building or part of with a whole lot more love, a whole lot more light, whole lot more presence, and really sticking to that mission behind the technology and the vision of what that technology can enable. The technology itself, I do not believe, is wrong or right. So I would say my mission has changed, and I think that technology can enable that mission to be leveraged. You said you have no interest at the moment to go again, but after what you experienced, what would your mindset intention be going into it again? Thank you for sharing your journey. You're very welcome. My intention would be to pick up right where I am now. If I were to go again, I know what the experience entails. I know that it's a black box. I know that surrendering is a good thing. I know that being focused and having a focused intention and a focused mindset is an incredibly important thing. I know that being a hollow bone and letting the medicine take full control of you is a good thing. If I went back into the medicine right now, we would be starting with an entirely different baseline compared to the first time I did it. Now my spiritual capacity is so much higher, and my vibration is so much higher. What I'm doing on a daily basis is completely different. So would I still have the same intimidation taking that first hit? Absolutely. But would I still have full and complete trust, full love in the medicine and its ability to work within me? Yes, I would. And that goes for any other medicine. Love you too, Nagy. When you talk with others who have smoked the toad, what do you find yourselves discussing with each other? Yes, that's a great question.
Good question.
And fellowship is incredibly important. It's incredibly important. Just like I mentioned, the integration period at the end of the retreat was so valuable because you get to share it and learn and teach other people. You feel that connection. You feel it. You harness it. You use each other's energy. It's absolutely beautiful. The same thing happens when I speak with other people who have done the toad. You immediately can connect on that level. And so there's so much vulnerability. There's so much things that are usually maybe in the way that are no longer in the way. You can just communicate more freely, more openly that way. And what does that lead to? I mean, it leads to more honest dialogue. It leads to more vulnerable dialogue. It leads to more meaningful dialogue, because you don't have to worry as much about getting through all of the surface level stuff. So my conversations that I have, I mean, some of the people that I did the toad with, I see them frequently. I keep in touch with them. They're the most beautiful people I know, because not only because we share the experience, but because we have that layer is no longer there. So you can just dive into how you truly feel. And that just means you can become better friends. You can just become closer. You can connect better that way. Were there some who left in a worse place? Did it fail for others? I would say that there were some people who didn't maybe feel the effects very much, or didn't take much away from it. I don't know if I could say that they were in a worse place. A lot of people question, my family and other people question, like, are you sure this was the right time to do it? And I would say, yeah, it was the right time for me to do it. And I used to think that it's the right time for anyone to do it, but I'm not quite sure if that's the case. I think that having kind of reflected on it, there is a lot that goes into it, and you should be ready to do it. You should have a mindset that you are ready to do it and you want to do it, because that mindset is extremely important. So I don't know if people, I don't know of anyone who left off left in a worse place than when they came. Now that you've started this journey, what's next? Well, continuing on the path feels right. Continuing to surrender, continuing to let go, continuing to allow my sense of self, my ego, to really just dissolve as much as I possibly can, and to approach things with the highest perspective I could possibly hold seems so right, seems beautiful, and it seems like that's really letting the universe work its way, letting the universe unfold as it should. And if you can truly see yourself as not just your egoic sense of self, but now a sense that you're embodying more of the oneness, the nature of our existence.
I think somebody already asked this, but one of the questions I had written down was, when you talk about surrendering your ego and your identity,
Yeah.
what makes this not just a new ego or identity, this new version of yourself? How is this not that?
Yeah. So this is a good question. It's a good thing to understand. The ego is still there. You still have an ego. You still have an identity. We are human beings, but it is the perspective that you hold as a human being. It is the perspective that ego is acting as a shell around or forming by that has changed. So your sense of self, from a former self to a new self, the perspective that you've breathed in to that sense of self that encapsulates the ego has changed. We will never be without the ego as a human being. That's fine. But it is who you identify as and the perspective you hold as an embodied being. That's the change that's made. How do we access this retreat if we want to attend? I have a couple of contacts, and I have feelers out for people who would like to, experience this. I'm not very tapped in. I'm not very dialed in to the scene, but I do have a couple of contacts, and it's not like I was on a newsletter when I did it. So it is very much so, I think, like a person. It's a referral type of thing. It's at least that's the way I perceive it, and I have a list of people with names of people who are interested, and asking on behalf of those people. So if anyone wants to be on that list, just ping me. I would love to be able to direct you and guide you to be able to do this. Anyone who wants to.
Parker had a good question.
Yeah.
His question was, what would pre-trip Mitch think about this Mitch?
I love you, Parker. Pre-trip Mitch, think about this Mitch. You've done it. You've done it, man. You did it. All of those questions and thoughts and all of the things that you were wishing validation from the universe. You got it, man. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. It wasn't the same way. It wasn't how I could have ever perceived you or imagined you getting there. But nonetheless, the universe worked itself out and it happened. And that's beautiful.
That's awesome. How do you, for those of us who maybe the experience feels too intense, I'm sure, beyond meditation, meditation's great. It has done wonders for me, but how would you suggest the rest of us who are maybe not interested in smoking toad venom to get to a better place, I guess?
I think there's basically two ways from what I have experienced. I've done so much work after the toad. That's where the toad taught me how to do the work that I then learned how to do in essence. So I'm speaking from that point of view now, kind of post-toad work. There are ways to recondition the mind gradually that can allow you to change your sense of perspective, to grow into a bigger perspective. Very important. Our mind has been conditioned to be very attached to our experiences over our lifetime. It's fine. It's neither good nor bad. But if you are seeking to change your perspective, then you need to kind of uncondition all of the conditioning that's happened by applying new conditioning. And so there are first and foremost ways to do that. And to go through them right now is a little bit too much, because I would want to really give it, kind of deserves its own thing, really. And I'm more than happy to share that with anyone. But it is better to do it kind of in its own thing. And the second way is to use meditation along that reconditioning together, and use them, to create synergy between those and help them build off of each other. And that's going to take trust. It's going to take courage.
Practice.
It's going to take practice. But
meditation's hard if you've never done it before.
Right. But what I've kind of seen and what I've read and realized with other experiences is other people that have done this is there is a point. There is an inflection point. And when you get to that point, it clicks. And you get something from that. And until you reach that point, you're in no man's land. And that's fine. And that's when everyone, wants to quit. That's when everyone says, do I feel any different? Has anything changed? And that's a trap that you're falling into your old self, You have to reach that point. And the easiest way to reach that point is to surrender and to let go. And to worry about the changes that are happening. This is a practice that a lot of people, it's been around for ages, obviously. And it's beautiful to see so many people doing it. So you have the things like the Calm app, like so many people are coming online fast these days. And so there is a process that you go through. It involves meditation, for me at least. There's other types of yoga that you can do. You can do dance, you can do all these other things. I'm not some yoga expert, but for me personally, I'm big on my mind. I'm focused. I can focus well. I can be determined. I can be motivated that way. So for me to be able to silence my mind is something that I know that I can do. For me to be able to work with my breath is something I know I can do. I've been a runner. I'm very good with my breath. I'm very good with my mind, my own motivation and determination to do things with these two parts of my body. And so to do that, and then to learn and educate yourself all together is how I would go about doing it. And a big part of that is fellowship. It's super important to talk to other people. It's a teach, learn relationship. When I get to share it with someone else, I get to teach them, and in doing so, I learn. And then they get to learn from being taught. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And that's why so many people that go through this, they feel so compelled to share it with people. Because they know that by doing so, they're going to learn it better, and it's going to help people. And if it's coming from a place of oneness, it's all good. Parker, let's see here. Have you been more reserved about your experience, or is this something that kind of requires broadcasting? Parker, you want to come? Okay, hold on. Let me bring you up here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. What's up?
Guys.
Let me ask you this question again.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I'm just outside grilling right now.
It's all good. It's all good. So let's hear. The question is, have you been more reserved about your experience, or is this something that kind of requires broadcasting?
Well, hey everybody. Mitch and Ryan, great job, guys. This is cool. And Mitch, I'm proud of you for sharing all this. Here, let me just take this fucking chicken off the grill real quick. I would say it does not require broadcasting. Absolutely not. This is something that, for a lot of people, I mean, the reason we do this work is because we want to dive within ourselves to get a better understanding of who we truly are. And the thing that I think, the conclusion that we end up coming to is that, well, shit, we're all the fucking same. Like, we are all the fucking same. We all started out as essentially this vibration that pre-existed Earth, right? And by some miracle, Earth came down onto the planet, and we've all evolved over centuries. And in not too long, in the big scheme of things, our sun's going to explode, and we're all going to, holy shit, it's fucking windy. Sorry, guys. Sorry, hold on. In the not too distant future, our sun explodes and it all goes away, and when we recognize that, all the things that we think are so important that cause us all these stresses and these anxieties and depression, all that stuff becomes so small, right? And that's why I got into the work. I found myself in a dark place where I just cared too much about stuff that didn't matter. And it was really weighing on my life in a negative way. And so, as Mitch said, I got roped into a group of Navy SEALs who were all going through different things, and they're kind of fearless and willing to try anything. And they're like, fuck it, let's go to the desert and smoke something that will essentially simulate our death. That's sort of what's happening. It's like for me, I smoked this thing and I kind of died. It's like everything that I thought of as being me dissolved into the universe, right? And it was terrifying for me. It was fucking terrifying. But then you get to the other side of it and you're like, oh my God, like everything's okay, and so this is a long-winded way of me trying to answer the question and say that a lot of people at the other side of that tunnel, you realize, like, well, we're all the same. And if I see other people that maybe are suffering, or, you feel so compelled to want to help others. Like what greater purpose can we have than to be of service and to help other people. So a lot of people come back from this work, and Mitch has been just more vocal about it, about wanting to share his experience, and just kind of shake the status quo and wake people up. And, it has a funny, some people can be really put off by that sort of boldness, but the reality is it gets the conversation going, and hopefully there's things that people can take away from it. So did I answer the question? So I haven't been, I'm not intentionally being more reserved about my experience. It was probably the most profound experience of my life. Really changed my life. But I've been doing this work for a couple of years now.
And another thing, Parker, is like, I think this is very important. I mean, how many hours, how many conversations have we had since both going through this? I mean,
yeah,
it's been an incredible part of the process. And I know I brought this up to you, is like, I mean, if I was alone in it and I had no fellowship, right? No tag teaming there, it would just be completely different. And having you to be able to, having full trust in you and being able to be fully vulnerable with you has been incredible. And that's helped so much. And so we've just learned so much, I think, from each other on it. And it's just been great. And obviously our flannels are the same right now for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. It's been it's been a beautiful experience. I mean, I really cherish the conversations that we've had, and we become like brothers throughout the experience. And I've been really proud to kind of watch you on the journey. And you went from just like bugging the heck out of me to being fucking Jesus, and I I really appreciate it. But no, it's yeah, it's been great, man.
Yeah,
It's been great.
yeah, it's been beautiful, man.
Yeah, and then we talk about a lot of these what the conversations evolve into is like, okay, what really matters, how should we behave in this reality, and then a lot of talk of this woo-woo stuff of sort of manifestation. It's like, well, whatever you want in your external reality, first be grateful for what you have, right? And then Mitch and I have been in this interesting sort of situation where we're sort of creating a business, I guess, and
Creating this.
yeah, so we have a lot of talk about looking within to see where things aren't working right, maybe, and how we can better ourselves so that we can create the external reality that we want to walk in. Because it's all, again, it sounds so woo-woo and silly, but I really do believe that so much of it is an internal journey, and as within, so without, so when things weren't going the way I wanted in my external reality, I was pointing fingers and blaming people and this and that, versus looking within and seeing what lessons I needed to learn, where I needed to work. And from that place, you can really create your life. And that's a very empowering thing. So a lot of our discussions are about literally creating something, but also all this, weird spiritual creating, who we want to be and getting back to who we really are, and that's the launch pad from which to, really live your best life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've been just like boring people, but this is really cool that everyone's here for this conversation.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
Quick shout out to everyone who's here, who's asking questions and has been actively listening and engaging. It's awesome. This was obviously all an experiment type of deal. We just went with it. We just tested it. We didn't let ourselves overthink it, and it's very cool to see you guys here.
Yeah, I agree. I wish, I feel like it'd be cool if we could hear from people, should we?
The hand raising didn't really happen.
Mitch,
I want to bring more people on.
Mitch, my reactions were either applause or thumbs up.
Were they?
Yeah.
Are there any other medicinal journeys you guys are interested in experiencing? For me, not really right now. I don't. Right now, I'm just focused on meditating and tapping my pineal gland and dumping more DMT, which just from meditating. So
Yeah.
That's mine.
I'm too busy to tap my pineal gland all day, so I'll take the shortcut. Yeah, I'm very much interested in furthering my journey with plant medicine. I look at it almost as going to church. It's like I show up into this space and I open my heart to a bunch of strangers and I dive within myself and I leave feeling a lot better. And it's or like getting an oil change in a car. Not that I'm dependent on it, but after a handful of months, I sometimes feel like I need to get back in there and see what I need to excavate. But it's by no means is it necessary. You can do it the way Mitch is doing it, which is just walking around barefoot and kissing the trees and stuff.
Counting blades of grass, naming blades of grass.
Yeah.
Befriending them.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What do you think about microdosing DMT? I know some people who do it, but I don't know if it's man-made or if it's enough to go deep enough. Thoughts?
I microdose mushrooms, and I swear by it. Is that DMT? I don't think that's DMT though, is it?
It's not psilocybin.
I mean, I think sure. But I think do it in a setting in which you're not at a music festival, like let's just party, I've had a few beers. Hold it, make it sacred, set your intention, light a candle, be like, this is why I'm doing this. And then take a little bit and see where you go. But ultimately, then when I smoked the toad, I did my handshake dose and boom, I launched off. I came back, I was crying. I was like, I said to the shaman, I was like, dude, that was so beautiful, but no more than that. That was enough. And he's like, okay, brother, okay. And then he upped my dose like tenfold or something, and there's some control in the microdosing, like, oh, I'm going to do a little, but sometimes you need to launch off, because the whole point of this, is to shake things up. It's to relinquish control and to surrender to something larger. And that sometimes requires a dose that is not micro, but rather completely all encompassing. So microdoses are fantastic. If I'm having a funky day, like I'll take a microdose of a mushroom and, tap back into my heart space and what's really important. But to be with a shaman in a safe place where you feel safe, you're not going to die, and to just be able to go full send, that's where some really special transformation can happen. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Lori says, do you miss anything about the old Mitch?
I don't.
I am still Mitch. No, I don't, because butterfly has to forget its life as a caterpillar. It's just part of the deal. And when I was a caterpillar, before my metamorphosis, I was always wondering how to become a butterfly. So it's a trade-off, and it's something that I was going in, that it's what I was doing this for. This was my intention. So I don't miss it in the sense that, I don't miss it. I'm fully accepting of this right now. And this is also very fresh. Like I literally just bursted out of the chrysalis. Like I literally just bursted out of it. So this is all very fresh. And let's let these wings fly a bit here and see where I land.
How do you feel about your whole life and experience shaping who you were up until September, whatever, of this year? I mean, and then all of a sudden, one experience has such a dramatic effect. Do you feel don't you feel like you're abandoning or like neglecting that your first 30 years shaped you who you were up until that point? Like, isn't that pretty profound to just kind of like have one experience and then totally shake things up and then not try to forget about who you were before, considering it was, your whole life?
Yeah, I mean, so internally, I still draw from who I was. I have not internally abandoned it. It may seem like that on the surface because there's been so much new stuff that has come into my reality that the older stuff almost has no room right now. When the new stuff settles, and this is what I was saying, when the butterfly kind of lands, right, after its first flight, when the new stuff settles, I do think, I can kind of integrate more of where I came from. But in general, I am very happy and excited about the new stuff. And
so you don't want to completely forget about who you were before. You just kind of want to put it aside for now.
Well, where I was before had an it's the only way I got here. It's not like it was by accident. It's all part of it. I was maxing out my ego, my sense of self. It was it was a different intention. It was a different momentum that was happening. And it was serving its purpose. I had served my purpose. I had served that sense of self's purpose. It's almost like it had gotten me to just the exact moment to where in the blink of an eye, I would have an opportunity that would change my entire life. And that opportunity would be one that I was waiting for my entire life. So there is no neglecting of my former self. It served an extremely valuable purpose. And it is a purpose I was very highly aware of. And in fact, it had brought me down to a level of just surrendering on a normal basis where I have almost no assets, no material things, which is all part of it. I think that's part of what has allowed me to let go of so much of that. So I only have extreme gratitude for my journey thus far and my former self and the way that was underneath all of the the social media craziness was this being that was bubbling up inside within, this calling that had been happening for years, for a long, long time. And so I will never forget that. I know that to be true. So there's no abandoning that. Maybe it was the peeling of the exo to allow that internal to really breathe and really come to be. Do you feel any shame or embarrassment telling people this experience revolved around smoking toad venom? Absolutely not. Zero. This is a gift. This is beautiful. This is profound. This is natural. This is so sacred, so special. I have the utmost respect for the animal, the utmost respect for the journey and the ceremony and all of the people that work on it and do it. This is a journey of courage, and you get rewarded. Nature rewards that courage. So no embarrassment, just encouragement to anyone who's interested.
My mom just asked a good question.
If you're in a relationship, should you do it together? What happens if only one does? I was there. Two of my favorite people that I met were in a relationship there, and I'm good friends with them right now today. They had started dating at the beginning of quarantine. Parker, you want to go too? Okay, after me, real quick. Let me just wrap this up. They were doing doing beautiful things. Taking the medicine together was just incredible to watch them. They were there for each other, but they were also at a level where they were pretty experienced. So this was one of their first time doing the toad, but the other one had done it before. And they had done other types of natural medicine, plant-based medicine as well. So they were experienced, and that was important. And that's the only thing I can say about that is what I witnessed was really nice, really beautiful. But they were experienced, and they knew each other, and they trusted each other very much so. And Parker, I'll let you go. Hold on. There you go.
Okay. Hey, Mom. That's a great question. And ultimately, you kind of have to ask yourself, I think, where is my relationship at? Does this feel like something that a journey we want to embark on together? Ultimately, yeah, it's really special to, it opens up this interesting door of conversation, as Mitch mentioned. And it's nice to be able to have that conversation with your partner and to feel like you are evolving is a strange word, because it's not like if you don't do it, you're not evolving. You still are, right? The human journey is one of evolution, but yes, it's nice to be able to have this understanding with your partner and to go through it together. That being said, when you go on these journeys, it's a big shedding of all these belief systems and a sort of a return to your soul, if you will, right? Just a return to who we are without all the baggage. And sometimes it's nice and liberating to go on your own and to go internally and to not have sort of this crutch of someone that you want to lean on, because it's not about that. So if you, that's just it's something you have to feel into. So my girlfriend, wife, whatever you want to call her, she I started doing the work before. You know, what do I my fiance, my partner and I, I started my journey maybe a year before she did, sort of out of like desperation. Like I needed something else. I needed to fix some things, right, internally. But anyway, once I was there and she saw my progression, I guess, she was curious. She was like, I want in. I want to see what this is all about. I want to be able to relate to you on this level. So we went together for a different plant medicine experience, a ayahuasca mushroom thing, and it was beautiful. I mean, we had a great experience, but she hadn't fully let go and cracked through. And for her, she realized that we've been together a long time, and she realized that she feels very codependent sometimes. And she decided, you know what, next weekend, I gotta plug my laptop in. She wanted to go the following weekend by herself so that she could not have anyone to rely on, any sort of safety net. She had to go and spread her wings and dive in by herself. And that was where she ultimately experienced greater growth, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, now that she's done it by herself, I think we absolutely look forward to doing it again. And it's a beautiful thing for couples to do together. So there's my long-winded answer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Parker.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're right at the 2 hours.
This is just episode 1, baby.
It's episode 1. We got to shut it down. It's been absolutely wonderful. And I seriously cannot thank you all enough. For those of you who are still around, I mean, we got a solid group still around here. We just got ourselves to do it. And it really means so much that you are still here with us and that you booked to begin with. And it was beautiful just to share this with you all. I hope that you took a lot from it. Parker, thank you for coming on stage here. And
yeah, man, my pleasure. And I think next time we should make it so that people can hop in easier if they want to vocalize. You know, I want people to feel like this is more, you know, of a collaborative thing, right?
Yeah, me too. I guess the hand raising thing was too big of a friction point, but that's totally okay. We will fix that for the next one. And Ryan, thank you so much for doing this. I know this was a big ask of you, and you did very well, and really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. I sorry for if I bored anyone with the slow start, but man, I was just so curious, like really trying to paint the picture in my head, really trying to put myself in your shoes and like imagine being there. And I don't know, I just really wanted to picture the whole thing. So I wanted to go through it like that, but
Ryan,
no, man, thank you, Parker, for sharing, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, Ryan, you did a great job, man. And let me say, when I showed up to that place that he was describing, the picture he was trying to paint, I was terrified. I see a couple dudes with these long dreads. This Mexican dude walks up to me and he's like, man, he's broken English. He's like, I smoked this, everything changed in my life. I left my family. I ride my motorcycle around. I was like, what? I was like, no, dude, I don't want to leave my family. I don't want to I quit my job and I was like, what? I'm like, I was so scared, man. I almost left. I mean, it was terrifying. You could feel the gravity of what this was, but you know, it was like being on Mars. And ultimately, yeah, I surrendered to doing it. Dude, I could talk about this forever, but you did a great job, man. You did a great job.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's super cool to hear what you had to say about it too. And yeah, I mean, that's cool about what it's done for your relationship as well, man. I mean, it's super interesting stuff. And, you know, it's obviously we all want to try to improve ourselves all the time. So that's cool, man. It's such a crazy experience, but yeah, it's super, super cool.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Lots of love. We'll be doing this again. Subject matter undetermined as of now, but we're not worried about it. Be on the lookout for it. And thank you all again. Have a great night. Love you all.
Love you.
Thanks, Mitch. Good shit, dude.
Yep. Bye, guys.
All right.